we've compiled 22 practical, easy-to-understand tips that will help you make better decisions with your money and grow your income. Whether you're just starting out or already experienced, you'll find something useful here. So, if you're ready to transform your financial life, stay until the end. Let us begin. The first tip is set a budget and stick to it. Follow this rule every month. Make sure you separate part of your income for savings and another for necessary expenses. This will help you control your money and avoid overspending. It's like a plan that guides you so that your finances are always in order. A technique used within personal finance is known as the 50/30/20 rule, which consists of dividing your monthly income into 3 parts and assigning a value to them: fixed expenses, variable expenses, and investments. In fixed expenses, we locate those expenses that are really necessary for our survival: rent/home mortgage, food, electricity and gas services, education. On the variable expenses side, we have leisure and recreation expenses for the month: trips to the movies, eating out, purchases of books, clothes, or gifts. The second tip is create a prosperous mindset. This means you must develop a mindset that allows you to achieve financial success and maintain it over time. Thinking positively about money will make you believe that you can improve your financial situation and that it is possible to achieve your financial goals if you really set your mind to it. A thriving mindset helps you see opportunities instead of obstacles and motivates you to take action instead of getting frustrated. The third tip is invest in yourself. Many people are looking for ways to make money and live a good life, but they often don't start with the most important thing, themselves. So before focusing on making more money, we should first think about how to improve our skills and knowledge. For example, if you are always learning new things and getting better at what you do, you will be more attractive to employers and have more career options. This can mean better jobs, higher wages, and more financial stability. Basically, this means read books, take courses, learn new skills, and practice what you learn. But this is not all. Also, take care of your physical and mental health. If you are not healthy, you will not be able to perform at your best or enjoy the fruits of your efforts. Sleeping well, exercising regularly, and eating healthy are also investments in your future well-being. The fourth tip is start investing as soon as possible. It doesn't matter if you decide to invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or anything else. The key is to start. Many people often say, I want to invest in stocks, but I don't really know how it works or if I should wait. It is always good to educate yourself on how financial assets work, but don't stay paralyzed and think too much without taking action. Sometimes we think about things so much that we never end up doing anything. We must not forget that choosing companies, banks, or studying different investment options are phenomena that are usually learned along the way. In other words, it is not the same to see investments as something that others do, because perhaps you are not interested enough to investigate it in depth. But when you invest your own money, the interest increases because you already have a personal commitment. That is, investing your own money motivates you to learn more. For example, if you decide to invest in a company's stock, you are suddenly much more interested in knowing how that company is doing, how the market is moving, and what other factors may affect your investment. Plus, you don't need large sums of money to get started. Even small amounts can grow over time thanks to compound interest. For example, if you save $100 a month and invest it with a 5% annual return, in 10 years you could have more than $15,000. The fifth tip is avoid using credit cards. The interest on credit cards is usually very high. If you don't pay in full each month, that interest accumulates, and you may end up owing much more than you thought. For example, a credit card may have an annual interest rate of 20% or more. If you owe $1,000 and only pay the minimum each month, it could take you years to pay off the debt and pay a lot more in interest. When we use a credit card, our brain does not perceive the expense in the same way as when we use cash. Therefore, it is much easier to overspend when you use a credit card. The sixth piece of advice we want to give you is invest in what you understand. Basically, this means that we should put our money into things that we know how to work. For example, if you are a technology lover and understand how that world works, you will be more successful investing in technology companies such as Google or Apple than in pharmaceutical companies such as Pfizer. It's like betting on what you know. But be careful. This does not mean that you should not venture into new fields, but that we must do so, but always with respect and having enough information. The seventh tip is create different sources of income. This means that you should not depend only on your salary. Consider having several ways to earn money. For example, in addition to your job, you could sell things online, rent your car if you don't use it much, or invest in stocks that pay you dividends. Thus, if one source of income fails, you will still have others that generate profits. Diversifying your sources of income gives you more security and financial stability. Our tip number 8 is create an emergency fund. This money must cover at least 3 months of your monthly expenses. This is something that many people don't have, and believe me, it is more important than it seems. An emergency fund is like a financial cushion for unforeseen situations. We can all face problems, no matter if we make a lot or little money. Imagine that tomorrow you lose your job, get sick, or have an accident. Without an emergency fund, you could quickly run out of money and be forced into debt. Therefore, it is crucial to have savings set aside for these difficult times. You should look at how much money you spend each month on rent, food, utilities, transportation, etc. Then, save enough money to cover those expenses for at least 3 months. This fund will give you peace of mind and security because you are now prepared for any emergency that may arise. The 9th tip is surround yourself with people better than you. In life, it is often good to surround yourself with experienced people who serve as a guide. Simply put, you should surround yourself with the best. It is important to surround yourself with trained, motivated people who advise you on your projects. This increases your chances of making money because being with successful and motivated people drives you to be better. That is, if you associate with people who are constantly learning, striving, and achieving things, you will also feel inspired to do the same. It's as if their good vibes and energy push you forward. So choose well who you hang out with because they will influence the direction of your life. Tip number 10 is always invest for the long term. This is probably one of the most important tips on this list. Sometimes investments can take years to bear the results you expect. Imagine that you invest in a technology company. The first few years you may not see big profits, but if you have done your research and trust the company, over time you could see your shares increase in value. For example, if we look at the S&P 500 index from 1871 to 2020, the probability of making a profit by investing for 1 year is 69%. However, if we maintain the investment for 20 years, that probability rises to 100%. Markets go up and down, but if your decisions are based on solid analysis, you are more likely to see good results in the long term. Before continuing with the list of tips, if you find this information useful, I invite you to like and subscribe so you can continue enjoying more content like this. Now, let's get on with it. Tip number 11 is, you must be patient. As we said before, holding your investments for longer periods will increase the probability of making big profits. But this is something that not many people can do. Therefore, in finances, it is important to be patient. Patience will allow you not to go crazy if you do not have good results in the short term and avoid making impulsive decisions based on panic or emotion that could cause significant losses. Simply put, patience in investing can lead to better financial results, less stress, and greater peace of mind. Tip number 12 is, don't take shortcuts. That is, don't put your money in investments that sound too good to be true. The reality is that there are no shortcuts to getting rich quickly and without risk. Amassing a huge fortune takes time. If an investment promises huge returns in a short time, it is very likely a scam. What you need is patience and consistency. Investments that seem slow but sure, such as those that return 5% or 10% annually, are the ones that really build long-term wealth. It is better to obtain modest but safe returns than to risk losing everything in search of a quick profit. So, for your own good, don't get carried away by the promise of quick and easy money. The true wealth mindset is investing wisely and thinking long-term. Tip number 13 is, do not pay a debt with another debt. This may seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people do it. Some people think they can solve their debt problem by taking out a new loan to pay off the old one. They think that this way they will have only one debt, and they will be able to manage it better. But the truth is that this only makes things worse. When you pay one debt to another, you are basically moving your problem from one place to another, but you are not really solving it. Furthermore, by using more credit to pay your debts, you go into even more debt and enter a vicious circle that is difficult to break. There will come a time when you will no longer be able to obtain more credit or loans because you have reached your debt limit. Therefore, the best way to manage debt is to make a plan to pay it off little by little with your income and avoid falling into the trap of using more credit to pay it off. Tip number 14 on the list is, you should look for quality and not quantity in your investments. What does this mean? It is actually very simple to understand. Instead of spreading your money across many different companies without really understanding how they work, it is better to focus on a few high-quality companies that you trust. This means that you are not making many investments in different companies, but rather you are betting big on a a few that you really believe are going to be successful. Tip number 15 is, you must learn to accept losses. This is something vital if you really want to make money in life and get out of poverty. But why is it so complicated for most of us? It's as if our minds are programmed to always win, especially in the world of investments. Imagine that you have bought shares of a company and suddenly the value falls, and it seems that it will never recover. The temptation to wait for a recovery can be strong, but sometimes it is better to cut losses before they become even bigger. Therefore, it is crucial to know when to let go of an investment and reduce losses. If you realize that your investment is going badly, don't wait too long. It is better to cut losses in time to avoid further disappointment. Losing sometimes is also part of the game. Tip number 16 is, diversify your investments. It's like when you have a bunch of eggs and you decide to put them in different baskets. In the world of finance, it is risky to bet everything on a single investment because you never know what will happen. Therefore, this means that it is better to distribute your investments in different options, such as shares of different companies, bonds issued by the government, or in investment funds. Because if an investment goes wrong, you are less likely to lose all your money since you have other investments that can make profits and thus compensate for that loss. Simply put, diversifying helps reduce the risk of investing. In tip number 17 we have, find a motivation to generate income. It is very simple to understand. You must discover the reasons or personal incentives that drive you to look for new ways to make money. This motivation can come from various aspects of your life, such as your financial goals, your family needs, or your career aspirations. The question you should ask yourself is, how to get what I like so much? From here, your brain will begin to come up with a plan to achieve that financial goal. Tip number 18 is, never stop learning. A very simple but powerful piece of advice. Keep learning. The idea is that you should never stop reading and learning new things every day. Because that's how you improve yourself and get all the information you need to be successful in finances. By understanding how different financial assets and markets work, you can identify opportunities to increase your profits. Being aware of the latest developments in news is the key to always being one step ahead in the world of investments. Tip number 19 on this list is, reinvest your profits. When you start making money in the stock market, it's tempting to go out and spend it, right? But here's the trick. Instead of spending it, you should reinvest it. Think of it like when you get a raise. Instead of wasting it, wouldn't it be better to save it or invest it for the future? Think big and make that new money work for you. Tip number 20 is, don't compare with others. This is very important because comparing yourself can lead you to spend more than you should. For example, if you see someone making a lot of money and living in luxurious places, don't try to do the same. You must follow your own path and not interfere with others. There are people who were born into wealthy families and, probably, when they grew up, they had the possibility of having a high income without even working because their parents gave it to them. You can reach that level, of course, but by working and making a lot of effort. Comparing yourself to others will only make you feel bad and can lead to poor financial decisions. Everyone has a different situation, and that does not mean that you are in a better or worse position. You are simply in your own process. Tip number 21 is, separate your finances from those of your business. If you are an entrepreneur and have your own business, this is crucial for you. It doesn't matter if your business is small or just starting, you should always separate your personal finances from those of your business. If you don't, you could go straight to bankruptcy. Imagine that you have a job and also your own business. If you mix the money you earn at your job with the money from your business, you are going to find yourself in a complicated situation. Either you are going to live poorly because you will not have money left for your personal expenses, or your business will fail because you will be spending business money on personal things. Separating your personal finances from your business finances helps you gain clarity about how much you are actually earning and spending on your business. And finally, tip number 22 is, think carefully before spending. Before you buy something, ask yourself what would happen if you didn't buy it. If the answer is nothing, then don't buy it. If your goal is to escape poverty, you must reason carefully about each expense. For example, do you really need the latest smartphone model? Probably not. Maybe with a cheaper model, you can cover all your needs. This advice can help you improve your finances and avoid purchases that do not bring you true value. And with that, we have come to the end of our 22 tips to make money and get out of poverty. I hope you found these tips useful and can apply them in your daily life. Remember, the path to financial stability is not easy or quick, but with patience and the right information, you can achieve it. Every small change you make today can have a big impact on your financial future. Leave me a comment below telling me which of these tips you plan to implement first, or if you have any other financial tips you want to share. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more content like this. You can also share this video with friends and family who could benefit from these tips. Thank you for watching.